Hello, everybody. I am Zenith, and I'm here once again with my good friend Raymond Tillinghast.
Hello.
And we are here to do a follow up of our Let's Play of the Silent Hills demo. Now, exactly 1 month after we recorded our Let's Play of the Silent Hills demo, word got out that the game was completely canceled. The first word broke from Guillermo del Toro himself on his Twitter account. He basically published that, it breaks his heart that the game will not be made.
His greasy heart.
His greasy heart. Yeah, it breaks his greasy heart that the game will not be made available to people. And then to confirm this, because people were doubting this, Norman Reedus actually opened up and he said that he's very sorry that the game will not be made. It was a game that he really, really wanted to make, and it breaks his heart as well. And then later on, Konami themselves confirmed what we had already found out. It has to be a direct result of Kojima's departure, and the fact that the company has now delisted themselves from the New York Stock Exchange further cements that things are changing at Konami that we do not want to happen. This whole situation, as I've stated in the Gamer's Code last night and a couple of other places on Twitter, it breaks my heart because playing through that demo, I was hopeful for this game in so many ways. I was excited for this game because to me it felt a reinvention, a reinvigoration, a breath of fresh air into the survival horror genre. This was a game that tailored itself to you, to what you did in the game, and not something minor. Yes, there were very subtle changes, but everything you did had impact in this game. And the atmosphere, the sheer ambiance of the experience of the game, just from the demo alone, I was blown away. I was scared, stiff. Ray, you were there when I was playing through the game. You saw how afraid I was during most of that.
You almost pissed your pants.
Yeah. The thing is, good survival horror is very hard to come by these days because there seems to be not enough of atmosphere. There seems to be not enough of an emphasis on an actual story, but also people tend to lean more towards the action lately in survival horror. Silent Hills did none of that. In fact, most of the game was you walking through a corridor and looking at things. You couldn't actually interact with things for the most part. You could zoom in on an object, and there was only one part where you had to press X to do something. But this was a game that fully immersed me from the very beginning, and a lot of survival horror games have not managed to do that in the past few years. I can only say that Resident Evil 4 is the last survival horror game that I have played in the last few years that has even gotten me super excited. Ever since then, things have been gradually declining. Resident Evil got worse. Silent Hill itself got worse. What are your thoughts on this whole debacle right here?
Well, I just want to say that I feel like I'm personally very disappointed in the fact that this is happening right now. Like, I feel like I know Konami and Kojima had their differences and they got in fights and whatever, but I feel like they're letting us down. Like, these are your fans. Doesn't matter. Your personal life has nothing to do with how we want to be entertained. We pay our good money for it, and I just feel like it's very upsetting to a lot of people, including the people involved in making the game.
Silent Hills, to me, is something that should have been. It had all the elements in place to make this fantastic game, and then because of internal politics, this happens. It's upsetting to me on many different levels, but Konami as a company, because I grew up with Metal Gear Solid and just all these other games that they produce. I grew up with Silent Hill. I've played through quite a bit of Silent Hill 2, and I highly enjoyed it. And this company who has made many of the games that people love, Contra, Castlevania, Silent Hill, Metal Gear Solid, these are games that we loved in their heyday. And yet now they've started falling by the wayside. And it seems even Konami has given up on its own brand. And now with the Silent Hill's failure, it's disappointing. It's saddening. It's devastating. You're right. You showed me this demo that night, and since that moment, I've been thinking about what kind of things they could do with a game like this, because as the name suggests, this was seemingly endless. This was Silent Hills because everyone could have their own Silent Hill. Do you think that there's any way that this could be salvaged as a spiritual successor?
Well, I don't know if it's even possible, because one, Konami has the rights to Silent Hill, and Kojima has the rights to the Fox engine, which he was going to use for the game. So if someone were to pick it up and just go from there, they would have to first put down the money, buy the rights from Konami and/or Kojima, and then somehow make the game as good as it was planned to be. Which they had so many ideas in mind, like the whole when you're indoors, it would be first person. When you're outdoors, it'd be third person kind of view. They had so much going for them, and now it's just all in the trash, and it's going to be very difficult to pick it up again if possible.
It's just it's upsetting because these ideas were things that I've been wanting to see from the next generation of video games, probably since PS3 started. Because with the last generation of consoles, we had always the promise of things were going to be different and things were going to be interesting. And we got some really good games for those consoles, but that was the graphics age right there. The PS3 Xbox era was where they pushed online interaction and graphics. We didn't really get a change to gameplay, and I don't really think we needed one at that time. Now we're in the next generation with PS4 and Xbox One and the Wii U. And we're seeing different things done with the systems. We're seeing different things in terms of the way the PS4 controller is designed. But the problem is the games so far. We have a handful of games that are really must-play games from Sony. And then we have all these indie games that are coming out like this year that are really worth playing. Broken Age just came out, Bastion, Transistor. But these are games... Shovel Knight, which I actually just downloaded. But these are games that are ports. These are games that existed on Steam. And I'm really glad that the Steam community is seeing a lot of love on PlayStation, because I'm not a big PC gamer, but there's a lot of great games on Steam. Please port over To the Moon. To the Moon is brilliant. But this is why I felt the PlayStation 4 was a great home for PT. And why, this was a next jump. This is what the PlayStation 4 kind of stands for right now, is innovation. This game was innovation.
Yeah, I think he's right that the good games are really lacking right now. And Silent Hills was going to be, for me, at least for me, and probably a lot of other people, was going to be the one game that was going to really get the hype and pick up the system and make it go to where it's supposed to go. That and Kingdom Hearts 3 and, what have you. By the way, please don't cancel Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, Ray texted me when I was telling him about the whole cancellation, and he's like, "I heard about that. Please don't cancel Kingdom Hearts 3." And I mean, thankfully, I don't think Square Enix is in the same position that Konami is.
Yeah, luckily.
But that's the thing where we see these franchises now, and the promise that they're going to exist is no longer a definite possibility anymore with something like this. I've seen this happen with Kickstarter, where a product is paid for but not actually released. I've never seen this happen in an actual video game form, with a few exceptions. I mean, Guillermo del Toro also had a game that he was working on called Insane. But the thing is, with games like that, it wasn't even made past the beta stage. It wasn't released as a playable demo. This is the first time I've seen a game that is a playable demo with its own trailer that was confirmed. I think this was like a year ago.
About that, yeah.
And it had all of this stuff. It had all these assets. It was a confirmed game. And then it was just canceled like nothing. That is the first I have heard of this. I've heard of things canceled in pre-production. I've heard of restructuring. I've heard of games that were moved around or picked up by other developers, but never a first-party game that had all these assets that was playable just get canned in the span of a week, because it was the week that Kojima had this rift, spawned this whole thing. Immediately, Silent Hill canceled. Immediately, Konami is starting to move their company to other places. There's so much going on so quickly. It's weird.
Yeah, and let me just point out, what about the prospect of The Last Guardian? Remember that project that was supposed to happen? It was going to be the next game after Shadow of the Colossus, and we still haven't heard anything about it since.
The Last Guardian, technically, and I have long since lost hope that the game has going to be released, but they keep saying that it's in production. They have very firmly stated that it is going to be made. I don't know when, and it's very easy to assume that the project was canceled, but they don't want to stop work on it. Like, I have a feeling that the developer and Sony really want this to happen, but I don't know. That's another weird case too, but that's not really internal politics at work there with The Last Guardian. It's more, I want to say resources, or maybe they just weren't able to make what they wanted to make. There's a lot behind the scenes I don't know on that front, but what I do know in Konami's case, from insider sources that have been unconfirmed, but from people at Konami, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. There's blackouts at Kojima Productions, formerly Kojima Productions. There's people saying that they're trying to burn Metal Gear Solid to the ground, higher ups. Basically, the internal politics is what killed a very good game. After playing through PT several times and seeing what it has to offer, and then seeing videos online of the different things that I hadn't unlocked or seen, I mean, I'm convinced that this could have been something special. There's things that we didn't show you, like there's a time where a bag starts talking to you.
A bag of, you don't even, who knows what.
It's just a talking bag.
Yeah.
And in these moments are what really bring out the game. Or, we got the photo of the girl during our playthrough, but if you don't get it, she can kill you at any time. I've seen that happen. I've seen her appear outside the window. She can appear in mirrors. There's a lot of scary stuff that I didn't want to spoil for you guys. I wanted at the time for you guys to experience it for yourselves. Unfortunately, PT has been taken off PSN. I wish I could have recorded this sooner. It was only like a 2-day notice that we got before they started to pull it off shelves. And that's an even bigger blow to me because the only thing that we had left was that demo. I have not deleted it. I still own it and I can still play it. But you guys out there cannot experience the demo anymore, and that is a dick move.
Oh, it is a dick move. And I think to sum up what Dave just said, I believe that it's just too good to be true. That's what it was. Too good to be true. Wishful thinking.
It was a perfect game in theory. I mean, what I played was simply perfect. And it was a demo, so I mean anything could have happened afterwards. But you're right. It was a wish fulfillment fantasy that just got whisked away.
Yeah.
It was a dream.
It was a dream. And you know what? In the end, it's rude. Like they get our hopes up, and then they just crush them in their fists.
It was such a good demo, and now I don't even know what they're gonna do with it. I mean, they still have the license to that particular product, but I mean, are they going to re-upload it without the Silent Hills trailer at the end? That would be ideal. I mean, I've seen the Silent Hills trailer. It makes me sad that I've seen the Silent Hills trailers now, but I've seen it, I've unlocked it. But it's better for people to experience this because I'll tell you what, this is a good class, a course in what to do in game development, in game marketing, just the way it was marketed, but also the way it was made. Not just for survival horrors, but games in general. Like, this game has so many good things going for it. The fact that it's a game where you barely even press buttons. You don't kill anyone. You walk around and experience things. And I know a lot of people will say that's not a game. That is. Anything that you can physically interact with a controller and a television screen
is a video game.
I mean, this may not fit your definition of game, but what I saw blew the lid off of many things. It felt to me like Journey.
I like Journey a lot.
It's an experience. And, I mean, Journey didn't use dialogue to tell its experience. It was a very different type of game. But it's the same idea. It's the atmosphere of where you are. Journey told a story through music. Silent Hills, the demo, told us a story through atmosphere, through the radio, through the subtle changes in the environment.
And most importantly, through fear.
Yes. And let me tell you, I work at Scary Acres during the October months. I am the person who goes into the corn maze to scare you. And, I mean, I've worked there 3 years in a row, so I know how to get people to react. Some people are easy to scare. Some people will scare for just about anything, but true horror is achieved by taking a person out of their element. You get them in this frightening environment, unfamiliar to them.
You put them right in the middle of their own worst nightmare.
Exactly. Only you have a coherent story. Cough, evil within, cough. And you keep it consistent. Silent Hills was consistent throughout its entire demo runtime. It felt visceral to me. But we've been talking about this for a while now. I don't know how much more I can say about this game without giving away the most important moments, the stuff that you just experience. This game, if you can find it, if you can find an emulated version, or if you still have a copy on PS4, play it. Show your friends. Tell everybody. And I normally very anti-piracy, but in the case of this game, it is never going to be released, and it needs to see the light of day. And people need to experience this. In people in game development, people just casual gamers, hardcore gamers, people who don't understand what gaming is need to play through this because it is a very different type of game. So guys, this was our review of the game that was. Normally after Let's Plays, I'm going to review the game that I played. In this case, because it was a demo, I felt that, we could actually review the game once we played through it normally. That is not going to happen in this capacity. So, with all regards, this is Silent Hills. This is the game that should have been made. I give it a 9.9 out of 10.
I give it a 10 out of 10.
So, guys, check it out. I'm Zenith Rule. This is my friend Ray. We'll see you next time on hopefully a lighter note. Until then, happy haunting, everyone.
Thank you for watching the Media Meltdown. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more awesome videos. And if you like what you see, show your support on the Patreon page at patreon.com/Media Meltdown. See you all next time on the Media Meltdown.